Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mandy and today you're gonna join me while I get ready for school tomorrow. So it's been a long day, I'm tired, dinner is cooking, and I gotta get the lesson ready for tomorrow. So come with me and I will show you guys and kind of break down what I do on a nightly basis to get ready for the next day. And you'll see how a little bit of prep goes a long way when we're talking about homeschool. These are things that I used to do in my own classroom when I would teach school and I had a classroom full of students, and it just made my life so much easier. And these are things I just carried over with me to homeschool world. So let's get started. But first, if you haven't yet, make sure that you hit the like and the subscribe button. And there is a link to join our huge growing Facebook group of homeschool moms if you would like to join us. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the board erased, and my kids made a big squid from his science lesson. So I'm going to erase the board and get ready for the next day. So one of the things I always have on my board every day is the date, and if there's any important things that they need to know, like right off the bat, like if we have something important going on, if there's a test, whatever's going on. So tomorrow, my youngest in Abeka is going to have his test. So that means that there's not going to be any lesson work on the board that he's going to have to do, but I do need to remind him tonight to study. So I'm actually going to write him a note on here so I don't forget to tell him, and so he will make sure to see it before he goes to bed tonight. So I'm going to write that note on the board, and I'm going to write the date on the board for tomorrow. He also has a spelling test, so I'm going to write on here for him to look over his spelling words. Now I'm gonna go look through the teacher book for Abeka because this is what we do in the morning, and I'm going to see if there's anything else that I need to put on the board. Most of the time what I do is I prep the board for all the morning work, and then when we transition to the afternoon, I'll go ahead and do that midway through the day. It's just a little bit too much to be on the board all at once. I like to stick with one subject on the board at a time, and language arts just happens to be our first subject of the day, and I just like to have that ready to go, just so when I'm waking up and I have coffee not fully in my system yet, I don't have to fumble with the book, and I know going into the classroom in the morning exactly what to expect and what I need to do. So that's the first thing I do, is I always prep the board. So looking through our Abeka book, there's nothing else really that I need to put onto the board. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next thing that I need to do. While I prep for the next day, one of the things that I always do is I do a little bit of cleanup as I go, just because it kind of keeps the room nice, seeing that we have a small space to work with. I am very blessed to have this space, but it's one of those things that can get out of hand really quickly, especially during the day when we have things out and we're moving around a lot. It's always just a lot easier to pick up as I go, kind of like when we cook and we clean as we go. It's the same thing. So as I'm making preparations for the next day, if I find something to put away, I'll make sure to put that away while I'm doing that. It just makes my life so much easier. So the next thing on my list to do is to make copies of my son's test, because we have tests going on tomorrow. So I'm going to get all my teacher books out, and I'm going to run the copies off on our printer so that that's all ready to go for tomorrow, so he doesn't have to look and ask me where his test is, and I already know where it's at. And I'm going to remind him as well to make sure that he studies for his test too. So tomorrow is a big day in our school. As you can see, we have lots of tests going on. Another one of the things that I like to do with their tests, if they have multiple pages, is hole punch them and staple them together so they don't get lost. And that way it makes it a lot easier for me to put it away in their binder that I have that has all their tests for the end of the year for me to keep on record. So it's just one of those things that's just like a little extra stuff that I don't have to think about. So now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stick this in my teacher folder that is on the wall over by the door that you guys have seen quite a few times, and that way it's ready to go tomorrow morning and I don't have to wonder where it is or spend time getting it ready for my child. Another thing I like doing is double checking their Apologia science, and this goes for any science, just to make sure that if we have any experiments going on tomorrow, that I have all the pieces that I need. And luckily Home Science Tools has these nifty boxes all put together of everything that you're gonna need throughout the year for like every science program imaginable. And I have come to rely so much on these boxes. So I know that it's in here. All I have to do is just get it out and set it off to the side so it's ready to go. So I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna double check. Okay, so luckily there's no experiments tomorrow. We had 2 that we were doing today, so I'm kind of burnt out on experiments. I had one for both kids today, so I'm glad that we have no experiments going on in science tomorrow. I get a little break from that on test day. And now we put the box back. So the third and the last thing that I check is the My Father's World plan and see what we have going on. And I use a lot of times my personal homeschool planner, and a lot of this stuff is actually inside here, which is why I like using it, because it just kind of gives me a glance. I know a lot of you ask why I have my own planner when everything is already planned out for me and stuff like this. But when you have multiple children, sometimes it helps to have like at a glance view. So I know I put what days are test days and things like that on here. That's really how I use this and how I use it to plan in the morning and the evening. And it helps a lot when I do this on the weekend, in the evenings and in the mornings when I'm getting ready for school for either the following day or for the day ahead. Okay, so my oldest has art tomorrow, but he just needs pencil and paper. So I don't need to go ahead and prep any art supplies. No matter what child or what age your child is, I always recommend prepping art supplies. And that was one of the things that helped me out a lot when I would teach a large group of children, especially if things needed to be cut out, especially when you have kids in that 3 to 6 age range who you might want to prep some of the things. It's just a lot easier when you prep the construction paper, the paint, anything that is going to take you away and have you moving back and forth between the area where you're working and your art supplies. So there is a little bit of prepping advice for you if you have little ones. And if you have big ones, sometimes it's just easier when all of their stuff is there and accessible. Since my kids have large desks, they have 47-inch desks or 42-inch desks. So it just helps them to have everything out and kind of off to the side, and their desks are large enough to where they can do that, and they have space underneath their desks for different cubbies and things. So having things out just really helps them move throughout their day a little bit more seamlessly, so they're not always getting up out of their seat and moving around and things like that. I hope you guys enjoyed this peek into how I prep and plan for our homeschool, and hopefully you guys gleaned some information from these so you can use it in your own homeschool. Remember, a little bit of planning and prepping goes a long way in shortening your day when you're not running around all over the place. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Make sure that you hit the like and the subscribe button and come and join us over in our Facebook group. I will see you next time in the next video. Have a great day. Happy homeschooling.